Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your October 2021 new moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds, letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. How will Capricorn be affected by the October 2021 new moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels, excuse me. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels, oh goodness, and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. Sorry, my squeaky chair. Okay, so let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. If we have Cancer within our natal chart, that's coming through very powerfully at our root. And then we have the Death card, which is Scorpio energy. Again, if we have Scorpio within our natal chart, that's also coming through very powerfully at our root. Our heart is going to be led by change, and that just absolutely falls into alignment with what this moon has to bring us. We have the Four of Cups, the Four of Water, a gift coming our way. We have the Messenger of Water, again, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer, amplifying both the Cancer and the Scorpio energy that's at our root. But we're also going to get a lot of messages from our heart, and we're going to find ourselves adapting and needing to adapt towards emotional awareness and towards our heart awareness than anything else. So this moon brings a lot. Okay, we'll get into that in a minute. Okay, let's look at the rest of this. We have the Two of Pentacles at our heart, balance. We have the Ace of Cups, which is God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, handing us a gift. Are we taking it? Yes, we are. And then that's amplified by the King of Cups. Again, amplifying that water sign energy at our root. Again, water sign energy, Pisces, Scorpio, Cancer. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles, which is that prosperity coming in just for us, because we Capricorn are earth sign energies right here. And so that gift of the Ace of Pentacles is coming in so powerfully and beautifully for us. We have the Eight of Pentacles here, hard work, opportunities coming our way. We have the Fool, which is new beginnings, but also a sense of, if not now, then when? If I don't start believing in me, when will I ever start? When will I ever be able to take that leap and to move forward in that faith in myself? It moves us to the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. the King of Wands. This makes perfect sense. This moon is intense, and this moon is then intense plus intense. And we have a lot of Mars energy during this time. And so with that Mars energy, we tend to be a little bit hot-tempered, and we tend to have people around us who are hot-tempered. Why? Because, again, this is just coming from the moon. This is coming from the planetary alignments, the star alignments. Everything has us on a razor's edge. And so here we have to be mindful of our temper. We have to be mindful of our aggression. We have to be mindful of hot-headedness and cruelty. And also we're going to be attracted to people who are what we're going to call quote unquote go-getters, but they're not necessarily going to be go-getters. They're going to be people who are just highly aggressive and won't take no for an answer. That's not always the best thing. So we have to be mindful of it during this time. We have to be mindful of the energy that is a part of us during this time and the way Mars is really stepping into our lives, because it seems to be doing so quite spectacularly. And we have to kind of step back from that and say, you know what? I don't need to be in a battle with everything and everyone. I don't need to be angry. I need to understand why my fuse is so short, why I feel out of sorts with myself, and then be able to acknowledge that through love. And that's why the heart is coming up so much, because it's like, does this feel like me? Does this feel right? Does this feel loving? Does this feel compassionate? Does this feel like where I'm supposed to be? And if it doesn't, okay, I have to call myself out. Or if it doesn't, for people that we love around us, it's like, okay, we have to kind of call them out. Now, can it lead to an argument? Absolutely. Maybe do we have to be a little bit careful about calling other people out during this time? Yes, definitely we do. But there is this need for us to be able to embrace our hearts and to embrace peace. That's going to be really imperative for us during this time. Now let's look at our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. We have balance. And that's the root chakra. If we can keep ourselves in balance, if we can embrace the balance of our hearts, our souls, and what we desire, if we can look at our root and say, all right, you know what? This is who I intrinsically am. This is what I desire, what I need, what I want. Then that starts to open up the door. We start to see balance as this beautiful part of us, as this beautiful way forward. And balance is going to be really important to where we want to be and what we desire in our lives during this time. And also we have the new moon in Libra, which is the best thing about this new moon. Libra is all about balance. It's about bringing harmony, again, balance, and a strong sense of partnership into our world, into ourselves. And that's what the new moon in Libra does. Now, this is the first new moon of fall or of spring, depending on where you are in the world. And this moon is surrounded by the sun, the moon, Mercury, and Mars. They're clustered around each other. Well, not clustered around each other. They're clustered around Libra to bring a time of empowering energy and intense energy. But we have to be wise about how we use this energy, because the intensity and the empowerment, well, it comes at the end of almost every 28-day cycle. This might be a bit more of a kick of it. Most definitely, it brings this new moon, okay? It's the end of a 28-day cycle, a beginning of another one. We start to see that burst of energy and initiative. It's like, I can get things done. I know what it is that I need. I know what it is that I want. That's a little bit more intense with this planetary alignment. But again, we need to be cautious, because the new moon is going to be conjunct Mars. Now, it's so important to come to this new moon with a higher energy vibration, or to just be mindful, our hearts and in our souls, of why we feel aggression during this time, why we feel angry and irritated and overwhelmed, why we're not taking care of ourselves. We can be doing things like not getting enough sleep, not eating properly, not, drinking well, that add to this aggression. And we have to be mindful of that, because we're going to seek avenues of escape from the powerful emotions that we are feeling. Now, this planetary alignment with the new moon conjunct Mars brings powerful energy, courage, and initiative. But again, we have to be wise about how we use that initiative, because this energy, if not recognized and respected, if we don't recognize and respect the intensity of the energy around us, has devastating consequences. We will be hot-headed and a bit cruel, or just cruel. So not even a bit. And we have to be mindful of that. We're going to think why people needed to hear the truth, why, things needed to be moved forward. And we're also going to be irritated and aggressive. So, excuse me. So if we can sit back, if we can sip chamomile tea, if we can, embrace calms or rescue remedy as, these added things to help us. Calms is a brand, and so is Rescue Remedy. I'm not affiliated with them at all. They're just really calming. They're soothing, and things that I have used for years. And that's going to be important during this new moon. The new moon is also going to be quincus Uranus. Now, this combo does not calm us down at all. It actually brings nervousness, tension, and anxiety. We feel like there's a huge change on the horizon, but we aren't necessarily going to want that change. We're not going to feel like that change is where we want to be. And we're going to try and keep things exactly the way that we want them. And this is a time where we kind of have to let go of things. We have to let go and see, okay, where does life take me? What is it that I desire? What is it that I need to release? We need to be more relaxed, and we need to take time for self-care. Don't rush into anything. We're going to make really, split-second decisions here, and we need to be mindful of not rushing into things, of being calm and being centered. Mars, quincus Uranus, again, does not help with the nervousness or the anxious energy that it is around us. We find ourselves losing our patience. We find ourselves just needing to act for the sake of acting. It's like, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, at least I did something. That's, yes, kind of a good way of looking at things. Like, yes, at least I acted. But because we're not going to be really worried about long-term consequences, because there is this aggression to us, we need to not rush into anything. And sometimes not acting might be harder, but it's going to be better than actually acting, because this is a time where we can really kind of mess things up because we're just so angry. We're just so intense on what we need to do and why we need to do it. Now, there's a rebellious streak to us. If we were rebellious as teenagers, we can feel like we're 16 again, or we're just rebellious. We can feel like we're 16 and, darn the consequences, I'm just going to do what I want to do. If we were never rebellious, though, this is something that really messes with us. Because it's like, okay, well, why am I rebelling against things that I've set up, like against things that are intrinsically important to me? Why am I sitting there, now resenting this? We have to look at the balance within us. We have to acknowledge our frustration and maybe make some changes around what's aggravating us. Take time again for ourselves and self-care. That's going to be so important. But we have to look at our long-term goals and say, am I aggravated because I'm not at my goal yet? Or am I aggravated with the steps to get me to my goal? Being aware of this will really help. Now, the new moon and Mars are aligned with the constellation of Carvus the Crow. Now, Carvus the Crow, the best thing that we can say about Carvus the Crow is that Carvus thinks outside of the box and is astoundingly passionate. That's it. Carvus the Crow brings us greed, dishonesty, vengefulness, spitefulness, selfishness, aggression to ourselves and to others. We're not necessarily the kindest to ourselves during this time, and we're not necessarily going to be the kindest to others. We have to realize why. Now, in the constellation of Carvus the Crow, there is the fixed star Algorba. Now, Algorba brings the kill or be killed energy to us. And this is a sense of, like, if I don't act, if I don't do what I need to do, somebody else is going to get it. Somebody else is going to win. We have to be mindful of backstabbers. We also have to be mindful that we're not necessarily going to see it as such a bad thing to stab somebody else in the back. We, again, then have to balance that with the don't be self-sacrificing in order to maybe help somebody else along. This is a time where we need to find that balance to say, I matter. I need to progress the way that I need to progress into my bounty, into my abundance, and not let everything else and everyone else boss me around. So finding that center and not being angry about it, that's going to be a really great place to be. Now, at our root here, we have the Chariot. We're moving forward with love for change. We're moving forward in the sense of my heart has power, and our hearts during this time have tremendous power. There is a sense of I need to be emotionally in tuned and aware. If I am not emotionally in tune to me, if I am not emotionally aware of what I love and what I want and what I desire from my life, things can kind of spiral really, really quickly, because we can start to rebel against things that don't matter. We can start to find ourselves getting angry because, the algorithms on whatever social media platform we're on have sent us things to raise our blood pressure, to get us, more engaged in what they're producing so that we can, get upset. We have to be mindful about this. We have to be mindful about everything that's coming our way and really embrace our hearts and what we love, and know that our hearts are stronger than we believe they are. So often in our world, it's like, okay, just go after it. It's like that kill or be killed attitude is very prevalent. And if you don't succeed, if you don't make it the way that society says that you're supposed to make it, well, then obviously you're a failure. It's like, no, what if I choose a gentler path? What if I choose to walk away from that aggression, that anger, that den of vipers type of attitude and place of being, to embrace and then walk into me? And that's what the death card is really bringing us. The dying away of the old self, the rebirth of the new. This sense of change. Now, we can actually feel like a part of us is dying away. a part of our naivety, a part of the way we thought things were supposed to go or going to go is being released. And we're going to find ourselves embracing where we stand now more openly and more honestly than before. We're not the person that we once were. And that can be something that we need to mourn. We might have thought that life would turn out differently, that we would be at a different place at this age or at this time. And yet we need to not be angry about it, or at least not let anger take over, because it's going to be very easy for that anger to take over, for that anger to rule during this time. We need to look at our transformation. We need to look at what we desire and embrace the place between, the place between words, the quiet of, meditation, of understanding, the quiet through yoga, the quiet through walking, whatever it is, to embrace our energy and to release our negativity. That's going to be powerful for us, not only during this time, but during our lives in general. It moves us to the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is a gift being given that isn't necessarily seen as a gift. And that can be something that, just feels like an extra responsibility. That could be something that during this time we can look at things and be like, but I've always wanted this. I always desired it. Now that I have it, why doesn't it feel right? And this can be for a myriad of reasons. We could have gotten something thrust upon us that we weren't quite ready for, or that comes with tremendous insecurity around it, like there's no stability around it, which is something as a Capricorn that we're not going to like at all. I mean, nobody likes it, but us more so than most. So here it's looking at the different things that come our way and knowing that more things are blessings during this time than they are curses. And that's going to be something very powerful to keep in our hearts, because our messages here of love and acceptance are messages of the heart and the soul and the self and emotions and desires. That's going to be a big deal. We have the messenger of water. We have ourselves adapting to our environment. You see, she has the webbing between her fingers. She can swim better because of this. And we're going to see ourselves being able to adapt to situations and circumstances and what we desire a bit better and a bit more openly and honestly once we start to let in our hearts, once we start to say, well, what do I emotionally feel and why do I emotionally feel this? And moving through the anger, because the anger is going to be something that's almost like a defense mechanism. When you're talking to somebody and all of a sudden they just start getting angry and you're like, what the heck? I'm trying to help you, or I'm listening to what you're saying and I offered this advice or I offered this statement and now you're all mad. Like, did you just want to spew venom and just keep on spewing venom? I mean, some people do, and sometimes we need to, but what we do need to do during this time is step back from the anger. And maybe see things from a different point of view, see things from a more emotional point of view, see things in alignment with our heart, and not look at that barrier of anger that gets people to walk away, that gets people to say, you know what, fine, think what you want to think, do what you want to do, I don't need to be yelled at type of energy. And we're going to find that that's actually very much the case during this time, that we have a tendency to be very reactionary, and we can be very reactionary around the same exact people, because we feel more comfortable with them that are actually trying to help us. So do be mindful of that. We then have the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is we need balance. We're juggling everything. We have eternal prosperity. Now, prosperity might look different in the eyes of spirit than it does in our eyes, but the ability to pay our bills on time, the ability to feed ourselves and keep the heat on or the air conditioning on, depending on where you live in the world, that's important, And so here, having our feet firmly planted on the ground, understanding ourselves and understanding that we need to take time for ourselves in order to be balanced, and not let our emotions just absolutely take over, that's going to be very important. We're going to look at everything that we need, everything that we want, everything that we're trying to do for everybody else, and say, you know what? I need to step back, and I need to look at myself first. I need to make sure, again, I have my feet firmly planted on the ground. I'm just not flying by the seat of my pants and thinking and hoping, that everything works out okay. I'm balancing myself. I'm balancing my energy. I'm balancing what I desire. And it moves us then to the Ace of Cups. It moves us to God, Source, Spirit, however you see the divine, the universe, handing us a gift. Now we have two gifts coming within our heart. One is of emotions. This can make us astoundingly sensitive. Now during this aggressive time, and as a person, as a Capricorn who likes to get things done and who, can seem a bit distant from emotions, meaning we like our lists, we like, everything to be in their place and not to act too hastily to things. There's always the exception to the rule, of course, but this is a time where when we have our emotions being turned up, when we have this cleansing of emotions coming forward and negativity that we've been holding on to and doubts and fears and hurts and pains, it can make us feel vulnerable. And that's kind of the last thing we want to feel during this time. And yet the King of Cups is saying, you know what? Stay in your lane. Stay and live your life. And that's what, to me, stay in your lane means. Doesn't mean just mind your own business and keep on going on if you see things that aren't right. What it means is remember that you can only live for you. And if you're only living for you, then you live as an example to what you want and what you need. Sometimes the emotions that are being washed away. Sometimes the hurts and the pains and the disappointment that we're having to see and face, that becomes intense. And what the King of Cups is saying is that, yes, I know I rule. Yes, I know I have tremendous power, but it's over me and it's not over anybody else. And as our heart tells us that, we are able to sit in the midst of a storm. We're able to see all the chaos that is around us, all the water that is churning, all the emotions that are churning, and yet still stay calm, centered, and in love with ourselves and our life and what we desire. And it brings us to the Ace of Pentacles. It brings us to God, Source, Spirit, again, however you see the divine, the universe, offering us a gift of prosperity, offering us a way to move into the next level of our existence, the next phase of our lives. And that's kind of what that gift that we're being given, that doesn't feel like a gift, helps us to do. It helps us to move into the next phase of our existence, to realize what's intrinsically important to us and what isn't, what we desire and what we need and what we want and who we are. And so as we take this gift, as we see this seed, as we, plant it within ourselves and open our hearts and ourselves to desire and inspiration and understanding, it brings us to the Eight of Pentacles in the public arena. It brings us to this place where we start to see our prosperity, we start to see our success, we start to see why we had to do something 500,000 times in order to get to where we are now. There's wisdom within us. We're not noticing it because, we don't think it's wisdom. We think, well, everybody has to do this. Everybody has to go through this. Just buck it up and keep on going. No, take time to honor and to embrace yourself and your soul and what you desire. Take time to honor your hard work. This is a time where people see your hard work, see your ingenuity, see your progression, see your success. Now, a lot of times during this moon, it brings jealousy. It can bring people taking you by eyes. But if you, again, stay in your lane, stay in what you love, embrace what you desire, embrace that you live for you and no one else, which is a very hard thing to do, especially if you have, children or people who need you and, partners and everybody else. And you think, wow, I'm supposed to live to make their life easier. I'm supposed to live to build them up and take care of them. Even our pets, it can be like, wow, I'm supposed to be here to take care of. And it's like, yes, that's a part of our existence, but that's not the only definition of our existence. And so the Eight of Pentacles is telling us to embrace our prosperity, to embrace our craftsmanship, our deeper understanding, our desires, our wants, and our needs. And it's moving us to the Fool. It's moving us to taking a leap of faith on ourselves. It's moving us to embracing an adventure. It's moving us to moving forward in a very real and open and honest way. The Fool, I always think of this as, I always think of this as the hero's journey. We're going to embrace the hero's journey before we fully understand our road. So what the hero's journey means to me is that everybody is a fool when they start this hero's journey, when they start living for themselves, when they start to embrace their hearts and what they desire and what they want and what they need and where they're going, when we start to understand that this life is for me and I matter, when we start to understand our blessings, when we start to understand what we're not so good at, when we start to be open and honest with ourselves, we start to move ourselves forward. And there's a sense of being a hero, but of everybody doubting, everybody laughing, everybody going, oh yeah, sure, you're going to XYZ, you're going to, change the world, you're going to change your world, you're going to be successful, please, come on, not you. And we tend to believe the negativity that's spoken over us, and we tend to negate the blessings spoken over us. Now, it might not actually be spoken. That's kind of a metaphor. It's the energy that we're taking in. It's the emotions that we're feeling around us. If we can embrace our blessing, our heart, our greater understanding, then we can find ourselves moving forward in a very real, very powerful, very intense way. We can find ourselves becoming more and more and more of what we want to be and embracing the adventure, the new beginnings that are part of our lives during this time. This moon in the public arena has us fired up, yes, but if we listen to our hearts, if we listen to what we desire, all of a sudden we start to see our success. We start to see ourselves not as victims, but as victors. We start to see ourselves as people who can walk through the fire, who can be forged, like a blade being forged, and be put into the burning hot, fire and be hammered out and made into this finely honed, finely skilled weapon. And it's the weapon of the mind. It's the weapon of the tongue. It's the weapon of our words and our voice and our determination. And that's what we're going to be embracing here. Now let's look at what the moon has to say for herself. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, angels. So at our root, we have the unexpected. Expect powerful change. So from the unexpected energy of this time, the planetary alignments, the star alignments, from the unexpected of our world and everything that we're experiencing and feeling during this time, expect powerful change. And we have the new moon eclipse coming in. So it's kind of like there's a sense of the darkness being a little bit more intense during this time at our root, even though we're not experiencing a new moon eclipse. There's just an intensity, there's a ferocity to this time that's beautiful, powerful, and for us. Now we have the full moon here, which brings power, and we have work through your fears, which is the new moon in Scorpio. So we are embracing the power of this moon, and it's forcing us to work through our fears. Again, it's giving us that darkness. It's giving us the energy of the new moon. And there's going to be a brilliance within the shadows, within the darkness, within the places in between. We then have the void, the dark moon, the new moon coming through once again. And this says here with the new moon in Capricorn, which is in complete alignment with ourselves and who we are. Right, during this time, we're in a new moon. We are Capricorns, and it says your hard work is paying off. So by embracing the void, by embracing the darkness, by embracing, once again, those places in between, we find this new moon paying off for us in a very real and powerful way. It brings us then to the Queen of the Moon, sovereignty. The energy is gaining momentum. There is going to be a power here that helps us break through a lot of doubts, a lot of fears, a lot of negativity. We start to see the sovereignty, the power, the gift that is us, and the energy gains momentum. We gain momentum. Our subconscious Luna message is gratitude. Take time to breathe out. Have gratitude within your life. And take time to breathe out. Take time to embrace your heart. Take time to embrace what you love and what you desire. Take time for you and to be calm, to be centered. Our subconscious energy to be mindful of is the Chariot. Now this is Cancer energy, which comes through at our root. It's going to be a blessing to us, but we have to be mindful of letting our heart, take too much of the reins, not being in alignment with ourselves emotionally and subconsciously. And so Spirit is saying to us, open your heart, let your heart guide you. Sometimes we can do that a little bit too intensely and be like, okay, just all my emotions all the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that's going to get me to where I need to be. And that can become exhausting, because the person who is too, logical, they're exhausting. Everything has to be backed up by facts and by reason. A person who's too emotional is too exhausting because, they're just chaos. And so here we have to find that balance. We're also going to be drawn to people who are extremes. We're going to like the people who are really, really logical, and the people who are really, really emotional. We need to find that balance, because we're just going to be drawn to it. We're going to be like, wow, these people are so passionate. These people are so intense. And yet it's just going to be draining on us. Our subconscious chakra energy is holistic health. What we have to be is our holistic self. What we have to embrace is holistically what's right for us. This could be turning to alternative medicine. This could be embracing, ancient Chinese or ancient, Indian medicine, to be able to embrace our well-being, our balance, our desire, our hopes, our dreams, and where we want to be within our lives. This is listening to our bodies. This is being in alignment with what we desire from our lives. And that's going to be a huge game changer. Our subconscious rooted message is temperance, Sagittarius energy. If we're born on the cusp with Sagittarius, this need for balance, which is also part of our chakra energy, is going to be really strong. But here it's knowing when to be fierce and when to be not meek, because a mouse is definitely a fierce animal, but it's when to be perceived as fierce with the saber-toothed tiger, and when to be perceived as maybe not as intimidating, right? But still being able to be intense and powerful and determined and focused. It moves us to our subconscious inner self. And this is the 8 of fire. The 8 of fire is saying that a lot is happening. We're being swept up in change. There's change that is coming at us and for us and around us that is powerful, is beautiful, but it can also feel overwhelming. So do be mindful of that. We then have our subconscious emotional self, which is the Queen of Cups. Now we have the King of Cups, the Queen of Cups, the Ace of Cups. This is a soulmate connection, true love connection, love, power. You know, the heart is so intense here. Listening to it, embracing ourselves, that makes all the difference in the whole entire world. Being able to say, I love, and being able to embrace what we love, even if it's I love chocolate, you know, and having a chocolate bar during this time, that's awesome. Take care of yourself. Indulge yourself just a little bit. Don't be too overindulgent, because we can have a tendency during this moon to say, you know what, screw everything, you know, let me just focus on me type of deal. So do be mindful, everything in moderation at this time, and being able to just open up the heart, because the heart is here for us. With the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups, love is everything. Love is everything, and beautiful, powerful, intense love can be coming our way, or it just can be embraced, like the masculine, feminine aspects of ourselves, falling in love with who we are and what we want. That's going to be beautiful. It moves us to our subconscious inner self, not inner self, public arena self, and it's the Death card. It's rebirth. There is this sense here of being reborn from the fire, from the intensity, from the power of this time. We walk in the places in between. We embrace the power that is us, that we desire, that we want, that we need, that we focus upon. And we're going to see so much transforming. We're going to see ourselves transforming so intensely and so powerfully. It's going to be beautiful. But there is a lot of fire here. So it can be through like frustration and anger and this like, that we see ourselves just being able to transform. And it's like without all this chaos around us, without all this intensity, we might never get to be at the place that we want to be. We might never get to be the person that we want to be. And so this is going to be powerful. All right, Capricorn. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I'm sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the power and the intensity of this new moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn, and may you have a blessed moon.